So welcome. I am Joan Benz, the program coordinator for Sharp Again. I'd like to introduce Carol Karp, our executive director. She will give us a short program update.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Here at Sharp Again, our mission is to educate and empower people to take charge of their cognitive health. We do this through many ways, including webinars like this one, in-person presentations, articles, resources, and a very informative website. But by far, the most impactful offering is our small group coaching program. This program offers live education and support facilitated by a certified health coach. The groups meet via Zoom once a week for 6 weeks. During the small group program, we focus on 4 lifestyle areas which we know greatly affect cognition and which people have control over: stress, sleep, nutrition, and exercise. The cost of this program is $450, but through the generosity of our donors, the price has been reduced significantly to $99. Our next program begins on Tuesday, October 22nd at 10 a.m., and registration is currently open. Our next webinar in our webinar series is on Tuesday, October 1st at noon, Age Well with a Sharper Brain. Join us to learn about the identifiable causes of memory loss and how you can address them to prevent and slow their effect. You'll receive all the program information in an email tomorrow, along with the recording link and any resources referenced in today's presentation. If you have any questions today, please type them into the chat box and we will answer them during the Q&A at the end of the presentation. I'd also like to note that the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Please see a licensed and qualified medical professional for your medical needs. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Vibhu Nagral. Vibhu is a certified health, wellness, and life coach, yoga therapist, and counselor, bringing over 25 years of global experience in yoga therapy, counseling, and executive coaching. As the founder of Choose to Be Well, Vibhu has dedicated her career to empowering individuals and organizations to make informed choices that enhance their and their corporation's well-being. She also serves as a board member of Sharp Again. Welcome to Vibhu, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for taking out time today to join us in Waiting to Exhale. Breathing isn't passive or binary. Restorative breathing has been practiced by all cultures since time immemorial. I guess you might be wondering, I've been breathing all my life. Why do I need to learn how to breathe today? We are here today to highlight conscious breathing. By paying attention to our breathing patterns for better health, mind-body connection, harmony, and balance in our lives. We will explore in this hour the process of exhalation, its importance, waiting to exhale, and its benefits, and how the missing pillar in overall health is breath. But what is exhalation? Exhalation or expiration is the process of expelling air from the lungs. I'd like for you to take a few minutes to just sit back, relax, close your eyes, and count up to 7 natural breaths, noticing how the body breathes. Notice the breath coming in, paying attention to how the body exhales, listening to the sweetness of your own breath. Now let's explore what happens during exhalation. As we move on to understanding the science behind exhalation, the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles begin to relax. The diaphragm, which is the primary muscle involved in breathing, relaxes and moves upward into the thoracic cavity. The intercostal muscles, muscles between the ribs, also relax, causing the rib cage to move inward and downward. Decrease in thoracic cavity volume. The relaxation of these muscles reduces the volume of thoracic cavity, the chest area, creating a higher pressure inside the lungs compared to the atmospheric pressure. The air pressure gradient also increases. The increase in pressure within the lungs forces air out of the respiratory tract. Air flows from the alveoli, tiny sacs in the lungs, through the bronchi, trachea, and out through the mouth or nose. Removal of carbon dioxide happens. Exhalation helps remove carbon dioxide, a waste product of cellular respiration from the bloodstream. The blood transports carbon dioxide from the body cells to the lungs, where it diffuses into the alveoli and is then exhaled. The gas exchange regulation begins to happen. During exhalation, the partial pressure of oxygen in the lungs decreases while the partial pressure of carbon dioxide increases. This regulation helps maintain the proper balance of gases in the blood. The elastic recoil of lungs is also happening during exhalation. The lungs are an elastic balloon-like structure and tend to return to their original shape after being stretched during inhalation. This elastic recoil aids in pushing out the air out of the lungs during exhalation. The ventilation and respiratory rate also is super important. The rate and depth of exhalation are controlled by respiratory centers in the brainstem, particularly the medulla oblongata and pons. These centers respond to the levels of carbon dioxide, oxygen, and the pH in the blood, adjusting the rate of breathing accordingly. Friends, I'd like for you to take a moment and place your hands on your rib cage. And keeping your eyes open, inhale deeply and exhale completely. Let's do this a couple more times. Start to notice the rise and fall of the rib cage, the movement of the intercostal muscles, muscles in between the rib cage. And relax your hands down. This is a 360-degree experience of the lungs moving up and down and movement of inhalation and exhalation. How many of you recently had a doctor's wellness visit? Do you recall going to the doctor's office and anyone checking your respiratory rate? Unless, of course, you're visiting an allergist. Most likely, it has not been checked. Your blood pressure, pulse, temperature, listening to your lungs and heart with a stethoscope, and maybe discuss diet, sleep, vitamins, and stresses at work was discussed. Respiratory rate was probably not. Respiratory rate is the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in our blood. How we breathe affects all functions of our body. Now let's repeat the breathing experience. Place your hands again, place them on your rib cage. And this time, noticing the expansion of the intercostal muscles, the rise and fall of the diaphragm, exhales longer than inhales. So let's begin. We're going to inhale for 5, hold for 3, and exhale for 7. Two more times. Inhale for count of 5, hold for 3, exhale for 7. Last time, try and close your eyes this time. Relax your hands, open your eyes. This simple way of breathing consciously allows us to have a calming effect, release stale air from our lungs, and allows us to wait to exhale. Longer exhalations and inhalations have been shown to affect our nervous system in a profound way. How we breathe matters. It's as basic as it sounds. Friends, full exhalations are seldom practiced. Let us look at whether mouth breathing or nose breathing is better. How many of you are willing to raise your hand and truly admit that you've done a whole lot of mouth breathing most of your lives? I admit a lot of times I have too, but early on I got corrected through the practice of yoga that nose breathing is better. Let's explore what is the nose. Most of us think of the nose as a beautiful extension of the face. Yes, it is. But nose is also a silent warrior, gatekeeper of our bodies, pharmacist to our mind, and a weather vane to our emotions. Nose is a crucial organ given very little importance in modern medicine. Benefits of nasal breathing are undeniable, friends. As sinuses release nitric oxide when we do nasal breathing, a molecule that plays an important role in effective circulation to improving immunity, weight management, and sexual health. Let us just try to breathe through our mouth for 5 counts and see what happens. So inhale from your mouth and exhale from your mouth for 5 counts. Thank you all for trying that. If your mouth is feeling a little dry at the back of the throat, -2. You be the judge of why mouths were meant to feed, not breathe. Nasal breathing clears air, heats or cools the body, and moistens the air for easier absorption, triggers a cavalcade of hormones to lower blood pressure, regulate heart rate, women's menstrual cycles, and vessels in our toes, and aids in storing memories. Nasal cycles were first described by German physician Richard Kaiser in 1895. The interior of our nose, it turns out, is blanketed with erectile tissue. Yes, you heard me right. It is erectile tissue. The same flesh that covers the penis, the clitoris, and the nipple. Researchers confirmed that nasal erectile tissue mirrored states of health in the body. It would get inflamed during sickness and imbalance in the body. The right and the left nasal cavities work like a thermostat, controlling body temperature, blood pressure, and feeding the brain chemicals to alter moods, emotions, and sleep state. So, since we did mouth breathing, let's close our mouths and only breathe through our nose for 5 counts. You may keep your eyes open or closed. Notice the difference? Thank you for participating. Now let us begin to understand why exhalation is important. Exhalation plays a crucial role in both physical, mental health, particularly in the context of mindfulness practices like meditation, yoga, and controlled breathing for exercise. Slower, longer exhalations means higher carbon dioxide levels, which means higher aerobic endurance. VO2 max is the best gauge of our cardiorespiratory fitness. As VO2 max increases, it promotes longevity and healthier lives. The role of carbon dioxide in weight loss is also less known. The way the body loses weight isn't through profusely sweating or burning it off. We lose weight through exhaled breath, and longer exhalation, the better it is. Carbon dioxide is the chief hormone of the entire body. It is the only one produced by every tissue and probably acts on every organ. Holding breath and waiting to exhale, friends, builds carbon dioxide tolerance for better health. Research shows that all spiritual practices from time immemorial around the globe since ancient times, whether it is a Buddhist chant, Om Mani Padme Hum, or chanting Satanama from the Kundalini Yoga tradition, or Om, Amen, or Amin, are all practices of slow breathing patterns for 5.5 seconds. Exhalations. Exhalations with sounds have a profound vibrational energy shift in our bodies at a cellular level. Before we go any further, I'd like for you to look at the slide, and there's a lady with a hand on her chest and her belly. For a moment, place your hands there, looking straight ahead, keeping eyes closed or open. We will breathe in this somatic way. 3 breaths. Inhaling for 5, hold for 3, exhale for 7. Again, inhale for 5. Watch that belly fill up and rise all the way up to your heart and chest. Hold for 3. Exhale for 7. Notice the heart soften, the chest relax, and the belly go in. One last time. Excellent job, everyone. Exhalations with sound have a profound vibrational energy shift in our bodies at a cellular level. Let us try the humming bee breath. Please remember to breathe through your nose only. Try the breathing with your hands closer to your face with the pointer finger closing the tragus, this little spot right here. And we're going to inhale naturally for count of 5. Exhale with the h and m sound like a humming bee. Let's try it. And once you finish 5, keep your eyes closed and enjoy the vibration. Let's begin. Gently lower your hands. Notice the vibrational energy throughout your body. Now let us explore what is happening to the nervous system, how the exhalation affects our mindfulness practice, and how they intersect and affect the brain. The regulation of the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic. Exhalation is strongly associated with the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the rest and digest response. Prolonged exhalation slows heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and induces a state of calm, counteracting the fight or flight response driven by the sympathetic nervous system. The vagal tone improves. The vagus nerve goes from the inside of our brain all the way down to our toes. And yes, it even affects our excretory system, how well we pee, eat, digest, how well we see, all of those. Controlled exhalation, particularly when prolonged and slow, which we just tried, stimulates the vagus nerve, a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system. This increases vagal tone, which is linked to reduced anxiety, improved mood, and better emotional regulation. All of us would like that. The right and left nasal cavities work like a thermostat, controlling body temperature, blood pressure, and feeding the brain chemicals to alter moods, emotions, and sleep state. Breathing mindfully affects all organs. The right nostril is like a gas pedal. Circulation speeds up and activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mechanism. Inhalation through the left nostril has the opposite effect, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and relax, side that cools the body and reduces anxiety. Let's practice alternate nostril breathing to balance the entire nervous system. Such mindfulness breathing techniques are valuable tools for balanced health. I'd like all of us to take our pinky and thumb and bend the three middle fingers inwards. And we are going to go with activating the parasympathetic nervous system and cool the body. So I'd like for you to try closing the left nostril with your thumb, inhaling from left. Hold both for 3. Exhale right for 7. Inhale right for 5. Hold both nostrils for 3. Exhale left for 5 or 7. This was one round. You may notice one of your right or left nostrils may be a little congested or a little tighter than the other. It's very natural. No worries. We'll do this again. Inhaling left for 5. Holding both for 3. All nasal breathing, friends. Exhale right for 7. Inhale right for 5. Closing both for 3. Exhaling left for 7. One more time. Inhaling left for 5. Hold both for 3. Exhaling right for 7. Inhaling right for 5. Hold both for 3. Exhale left for 7. Lower your hands. This gentle practice, if done regularly for 5 rounds and slowly increasing up to 7, 8 rounds, really begins to balance the right nostril and the left nostril. Please try and practice. Let us further explore how alternate nostril breath also begins to help us in stress reduction, relaxation, enhanced focus and cognitive function, and emotional regulation. Stress reduction and relaxation, as the pictures will reveal, are closely related. When we breathe mindfully with an emphasis on slow and deliberate exhalation, show to reduce cortisol levels in the body. Cortisol is a hormone associated with stress, and its reduction can lead to decreased feelings of anxiety and tension. The relaxation response, exhalation activates the body's natural relaxation response, which is a physiological state opposite to the stress response. This helps lower stress levels and promotes a sense of well-being. Enhanced focus and cognitive function. Improved attention. Mindful exhalation increases oxygen flow to the brain while helping to remove excess carbon dioxide. This can enhance cognitive function, improve focus, and increase mental clarity. Mindfulness practices also enable neuroplasticity, including controlled exhalation, which are associated with change in brain structure and function. For instance, the prefrontal cortex, involved in decision making and attention, and the hippocampus, involved in memory and learning, can both benefit from regular mindfulness practices. Emotional regulation also starts to improve. Our limbic system modulation, the limbic system, which includes structures such as the amygdala, involved in emotional processing, is influenced by breathing patterns. By focusing on slow, deep exhalations, individuals can modulate the activity of the amygdala, reducing reactivity to emotional stressors and enhancing emotional regulation. The longer, the slower the exhalation, we begin to reflect and respond rather than to react. There's a beautiful mind and body connection as well. Exhalation helps establish a stronger connection between the mind and the body. By consciously extending and deepening exhalations, one can gain greater control over emotions and reduce the intensity of negative emotional responses. Next, we shall be seeing how mindfulness and present moment awareness and the neurochemical changes all begin to impact sleep. The grounding effect, mindful breathing, particularly focusing on exhalation, helps ground individuals in the present moment. This focus on breath can reduce rumination, constant thinking, the chatter in the mind, decrease the frequency of intrusive thought, and promote a state of mindfulness where one is fully present. Reduction of mental noise, slowing down the breath, and emphasizing exhalation can quiet the mind's chatter, making it easier to achieve a state of calm and focus during mindfulness practices. The impact on sleep is tremendous. Mindful exhalation before bed can help in relax the body, the mind, making it easier to fall asleep and improving sleep quality and the duration. This is often incorporated into practices like yoga nidra or guided relaxation techniques. The neurochemical changes, the endorphin release, slow, deep exhalation, especially when combined with mindfulness, can stimulate the release of endorphin, the body's natural painkillers and mood enhancers, contributing to a sense of well-being and relaxation. Serotonin and dopamine levels. Mindful breathing practices may also influence neurotransmitter levels, including serotonin and dopamine, which are crucial for mood regulation and feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. Friends, mindfulness practices done continuously and regularly will certainly give you all these wonderful changes in your lifestyle. In summary, exhalation is not just a mechanical process, but a powerful tool for influencing the brain and the entire nervous system. There are practical tips for intentional exhalation. Practice deep breathing, use breathing techniques, mindfulness meditation, yoga practices, and incorporate all of these into your daily life. There are many breathing practices one can do, but doing any one of them or a few of them consistently and continuously is the key to seeing results and friends aging well and keeping our brains healthy. It's also creating a sense of well being. The Wim Hof method, the Buteyko breathing, the breath of fire, and the three-part yogic breath are a few ways for all of us to further explore. We will be sending out a follow-up email where all of these techniques you can explore. I highly recommend reading the book by James Nestor called Breath to learn more about breath and ancient science. Waiting to exhale is a good thing, my friends, for our health. Today, we practiced diaphragmatic breathing while holding our rib cage with breath holds and longer exhalations, somatic breathing with our hands on our heart and our belly. We also practiced the alternate nostril breathing. We also practiced inhaling for count of 5, holding for 3, exhaling for 7, and the humming bee breathing. Slow breathing for 5.5 seconds. Let's practice it right now. Inhale, I'm keeping time, and you begin. And slowly begin to exhale. This simple technique can also be practiced while you're waiting at traffic lights, just focusing, inhaling for count of 5, exhaling for count of 5. Thank you and namaste. Please let me know if there are any questions. Happy to address them, and Joan or Carol will read them out.
Let's see, I will unpin you so that we can see anyone. You can ask a question. So Vibhu, I was thinking during the presentation about our meditation. Don't hesitate, let's meditate, awaken and energize, and our de-stress with breath, the 5-day challenge. We have those recordings on our YouTube channel. And I thought these might be great resources for people to access after this presentation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And any of these can be practiced. They're very easy to follow. I encourage you to try. And we've gone over a couple of breathing techniques today. If you'd like, please ask a question or a query. Happy to do it again. with everybody right away.
So, yeah, Anne Hyatt Smith remarked, and then this is similar to the issue I have about not feeling like you get enough air in through your nostrils. I mean, I find it particularly hard to do the alternate nose, but I think a lot of people, we feel like we do so much better through our mouths when we need to take a big gulp of air.
So a lot of people have become habituated to breathe through their mouth, yes. But breathing through the nose is really more effective and healthy for you, because when you breathe through your nose, try it with me, you'll start to notice that the air you're breathing starts to become cooler and becomes moist as it passes through the nostrils into the nasal cavity. And that is when the nitric oxide starts to get released. And this, my friends, this molecule really aids in better health and immunity. Mouth breathing isn't even giving you the entire diaphragmatic fullness of the breath. As a result, there is a little bit of dryness at the back of the throat. Plus, it is leading towards sleep apnea and other respiratory health issues. So I know it may be a little bit of a challenge. Some of us have deviated septums, or we feel the right nostril is a little congested, or left is. But practicing alternate nostril breath, if we try that regularly, it will really improve and change the habit from mouth breathing to nasal breathing. Carol, I hope I've answered your question.
Doesn't the nose also filter the air before it gets into your lungs?
Absolutely does. And that's the job of the nose hair.
Yeah. I've noticed that an awful lot of professional tennis players tend to breathe with their mouth while they're playing tennis. I'm sure it's, they're getting more air in there and they need more air, but my guess is they have more colds than most people.
Possibly, but when you are doing an aerobic exercise like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of survival. So therefore, they need gulps of air. But
Yeah.
that's not when they are. That's part of the performance of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But for better health, they probably do a lot of mindfulness practices, which allows them to sustain such a long, the tennis games or any other games like that, for them to have the stamina for such fast speed balls to be held by, their rackets and the aerobic endurance. So, because it's a combination of aerobic and anaerobic that they are tackling at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, do we have any other questions? Does anyone want to raise their hand? Do that. Well, thank you, Vibhu. This was very enlightening and very relaxing, I have to say.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for participating. And let's not wait to exhale. Let's wait, inhale for 5, hold for 3, and exhale longer than your inhalations. I wish you all the best of health. Namaste.
Thank you. And I'm going to stop our recording.